pieces from here that I have yet to get into audio form. I'll clean up the audio in the last one. Screwed up. So some of these are strange news-oriented pieces. I will share them with you, and thank you. This first one is called Internet Chainsaw Relationship.
Whoa.
My news series. Reflecting on the movies You've Got Mail and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this story was reported in Maine on July 5th. The now deceased James began an internet relationship with Beth. James lived in Missouri, but moved himself to Maine on June 23rd to be with Beth. When he arrived, Beth abruptly ended their relationship. After spending thousands of dollars on calls, emails, computers, and moving to Maine, Jane had even helped Beth pay her bills. So James was a little distraught. Beth didn't know that James had attempted suicide 5 years early. Deborah, James's friend, received a phone call from him where he begged her to forgive him, though she didn't know what for. Hours after that phone call, James drove to Beth's house on River Road, knocked on the door, and asked an adult son if he could get his mother. He refused and locked all of the doors. At this point, James pulled a chainsaw from his trunk, stood on the lawn, and severed his own neck to showcase to Beth the depth of his love.
What?
Police found him barely alive. There was blood all over. I couldn't see where the wound was, explained William Robbins of the Saginaw County Sheriff's Department. James died in the hospital. James had 2 brothers, and they were contacted after his death. Both his brothers were also named James, but they all had different middle names. Strange news. Yeah, well, they might have the same name, but this one is called The Perils of Lovemaking. This report was brought to us by Dr. William A. Morton, Jr., MD, a retired urologist in West Chester, Pennsylvania. Dr. Morton was called to the emergency room because a pale 40-year-old male patient there, quote, needed a doctor who took care of men's troubles, end quote. After the nurse left, the doctor removed 2 or 3 yards of stained gauze wrapped around his scrotum, swollen to twice the size of a grapefruit. His tender left scrotum had a jagged, pus and blood-filled zigzag laceration. After seeing dark lines, the patient explained the day earlier that he injured himself in a machine shop with a heavy-duty stapling gun. Those dark lines were 1-inch wallboard staples. He was admitted. He was admitted to the hospital, got tetanus and antibiotics, antibiotic therapy, and pre-surgery baths. 8 staples were removed during surgery, and his left testis was missing. After the surgery, the patient told Dr. Morton the entire story. The patient was an unmarried loner who didn't leave the shop for lunch with his male coworkers, but when he was alone every day for lunch, he would masturbate with his penis against the canvas of a machine's drive belt. But one fatal day, as he approached orgasm, he got too close to the belt and threw him in the air and apparently took his left testes with it. He couldn't tell his coworkers, so he stapled the wound and returned to work. This last one for you is called The Self-Knifing. I actually know the man that this news story is about. Dateline, Gurnee, Illinois. This reporter has been trying to get to the bottom of this story. The local reports state that a fight started at the bar Used to Be's, the once home of music and poetry open mic Sing Your Life, when painter Zach Miller made drunken, derogatory remarks about a man's girlfriend in the bar. Newspaper reports that the man fought back along with his cousin and 2 to 5 other men. The News Sun newspaper also reported that Zach pulled his knife out of his boot to stab someone, but they retrieved the knife and knifed Zach Miller in his own weapon. After this reporter later interviewed Mr. Miller, we found that Zach wasn't wearing a boot and his knife was in his pocket. He later informed us that he was knocked unconscious, and at one point there may have been as many as 7 people beating him after he passed out. He went to his second hospital in Skokie, Illinois, because the seriousness of his leg injury being cut open with his own knife, in addition to the amount of blood he had lost, he had to be removed. Zach contends that other people took his knife and stabbed him that fateful night. This doesn't explain how the perpetrators were stabbed with the knife if they were the sole offenders. The bar owner claims that he tried to kill men there. Zach admitted that he pulled out the knife in self-defense, and after he was attacked and on the ground, after he successfully stabbed 3 of the men, 1 in the lung, someone pulled the knife from him, grabbed him, and stabbed him in the leg. Zach was later charged with unlawful use of a weapon, a Class 4 felony, which he still has severed nerves and difficulty with his foot because his leg was knifed with his own weapon. The 3 other people were charged with disorderly conduct, and it is reported that Zach is confident that he will not have to face jail time for this action at the bar Used to Be's, now nicknamed by friends You Stabbed Me's. But this story goes to show you that even if you're only in a suburb of Chicago, it might not be the best idea to carry a deadly weapon to a bar.